I think that we should say.
Oh, okay, perfect. Sit there. I think we're okay. And we can put people here too. I just figured no reason for us not to put Fran up there.
Should also be taking pictures.
Yeah, the weather.
And sending that to,
Oh, it's in here.
magazine.
Okay, so I got my staff over here. You guys are great. Thank you.
Oh, and I,
Oh, we have these types of delegates?
Dan, yesterday,
Perfect. Delegate,
delegate,
alternate. I hate to do this, but I'm gonna have you sit over there because we can only have one vote per post. And I don't know if you've heard about how these meetings go in the gallery over there. I know. Only because we can only have one vote per post and I don't want any confusion. You guys are just gonna have to conference like telepathically. A bottle of water? Access to Are they really? Did you check the, there used to be some in this hallway back here. Yeah, they're not there anymore? I don't know what they're doing. Do you have a question for me?
Put you in charge of the meeting.
I have to be in charge because Jack is in the hospital.
They don't allow the temporary chairman to chair the meeting.
No, we've already done
Vice chairman
that.
doesn't exist.
We've done this in the past. I'm like the next ranking officer. That's all I can remember.
The commission is supposed on who's going to chair the meeting. Chairman and vice chairman out here.
I appreciate your input.
And I don't think he should have to move over there because he is an alternate. I think he should take down and take his
Again,
seat like he
I
should.
appreciate your input.
But I still think he should sit down and take his seat like he should.
Thank you for coming on in today.
I wouldn't
Are
move.
you the only delegate from Rockland? Love it. Awesome. Or quick
Dan Hope is getting the money.
Yeah, Coach called me back, like, right away and said, you'll have it Thursday. 200 everything. The last time, the one time he gave me a check, so I took it to the local bank, they charged me $3 to cash it.
That's why I want him in the audience, because I don't know if you've been to these meetings or paid attention, but it can turn into chaos. So I want to make sure that we know that each of us is getting the one vote, like here, only alternate, so that's perfect.
So, I'm going to repeat myself a few times. We are fully mic'd, so when you guys speak, if anyone has anything to say, I would like it if you would hit speak on your mic here, talk, and then hit it again to stop. That way, as the meeting's being recorded, we can understand what everybody is saying. There's nobody talking over each other, and it makes just the flow of everything a lot better. and delegates sign in on the, outside on the table.
I'm fine, how you doing? They got that sign-in sheet in. Right out there. Yeah.
What's that? I don't know, hard to tell.
Guess I'll go sign in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you know how many of our VFW guys are here?
1, 2, 3 that I know of, 4,
Okay,
Oh, okay.
5,
Yeah, I don't think that.
further,
6.
My bad.
Where at? Where you sit? Right there. How's life treating you? Fair to middle, that's back.
I didn't do it.
I would like to ask all the alternates and delegates to please sign in if you did not already do so. And I would also like to say that we're fully mic'd, so when speaking, if you could hit the speak button on your microphone, to talk, to vote, pass motion, so I can hear you clearly, and I can take the minutes down a lot easier.
All right, everyone, it's 6:01 p.m. and we're going to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this evening. Please guide us in our deliberations and to help us make prudent and wise decisions for those whom we serve. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call, Executive Board. Jack Bigelow is excused. Secretary Denise Williams present. Sergeant at Arms Amanda Cook.
Here.
Jeff and Jim Saylor.
Here.
Member Tom Milnick, excused. Member Janet Blue. Here. Member Steve Benke.
Here.
Task Chair Dick Martinka.
Present.
Task Chair John York, excused. Task Chair Wayne Horn.
Here.
I will call the roll for the members of the Veterans Assistance Commission delegates by post. If you are here to represent your post, please identify yourself by name, and if I need to, please spell it. AL 2000 Mohina. AL 1977 New Lenox. AL 1291 Crete. AL 1200 Moni.
Janet Blue, here.
Executive Board. AL 1080. AL 935 Manhattan.
Everything come here.
Thank you. AL 521 Stager. AL 392 Peatone.
Robert Kruger.
ARUEGER.
Correct.
Thank you. AL 241 Buffalo Soldiers. AL 191 Wilmington. AL 52 Romeoville.
Tom Jost, JOSD.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jost. Yes, Executive Board, thank you, I was just about to say it. AL 39 Braidwood. AL 18 Lockport.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's me, I'm sorry. My team, not 52, I take it back, I'm sorry. 52 is Romeoville, I live in Romeoville, that's why I got confused. Tom Jost, JOSD, and Lockport, BT.
Okay, so I'm confused.
Okay, I'm not part of 52.
Okay.
So, I don't
You are here to represent AL 18 Lockport.
That's Tom Jost.
Okay, thank you.
JOSD.
No worries. AL 13 Plainfield.
Plainfield, Raj Pillai here, alternate.
VFW 9545 in Lennox. VFW 8283 Stager. VFW 5917 Bolingbrook.
Present.
Okay, and,
Alternates also present.
okay, I need a name, please.
Larry Shaver.
Who is the delegate, sir?
John David.
And we also have the delegate present.
Larry Shaver, SHAVER.
Thank you. VFW 5819 Lamont. VFW 5788 Lockport. VFW 5422 Wilmington.
Present, Jennifer Beal,
Please spell your last name.
T-I-E-C-H-L.
Thank you. VFW 2199 Stone City. VFW 1493 Frankfurt.
That's me.
Okay. VFW 725 Mokina. VFW 367 Cantigny.
Jim Clausen, alternate.
One S, correct, Jim?
Yes.
Are there any delegates or alternates representing a post or organization that have not been called or recognized? Okay, sir, your name?
Joseph Kelly, Kate. Joseph Kelly, K-E-L-L-E-Y.
And what
Military
organization?
Officers Association of America.
And someone else said? Sir?
1080, Gary Steve. 1080, Gary Steve.
Oh.
I must have missed you.
Okay, one moment. Yes, Gary. And it's S-T-I-E?
Yeah, STIAG.
Okay. Is there anyone else representing a post or an organization whose name has not been called or whose organization has not been called? Okay, we do have quorum. And I think we need to have a president pro tem. So is there a motion? And
I'll make a
nomination?
motion to ask Amanda Coach to be president pro tem this evening in lieu of the absence of our president.
Jackie, second.
Okay, we need a roll call vote here, so let's see. Denise Williams? Yes. Amanda Cook?
Yes.
Jim Sigler? Jan Flu?
Yes.
Steve Bennett?
Yes.
Rick Martinka? Wayne Horn?
Yes.
Gary Steve? Aye or nay, yes or no, for Amanda Cook to be president pro tem to proceed with the meeting? No, Gary? Gary Steve, 1080.
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. Robert Endo?
Yeah.
Okay. Robert Kruger?
Yes.
Tom Jost?
Yes.
Raj Pillai?
That would be a no.
John David? Or Davin, I don't want to mispronounce it.
You got it right, David.
It is David? Yes, okay. And gentlemen, there's two of you, but it's only the delegate that votes, okay? Jennifer Peel?
Yes.
Jim Clausen?
Yes.
Joseph Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. I have 15 ayes and 1 nay. President Pro Tem.
Good evening. So as you can see, our president, Jack Piccolo, is unable to attend this meeting this evening, so I'll chair this in his place. And I want to emphasize how important this meeting is for the Will County Veterans Assistance Commission. Tonight, we begin the process of creating a new board of commissioners for the Will County Veterans Assistance Commission with our nomination process. Before we begin, I want to talk about how this meeting will be run. All of our delegates and current officers are here in the desks and may raise their hand to speak during discussion of agenda items. This will happen after a motion and a second, but before the vote. The public will sit in the audience and have the opportunity to speak at public comment. The agreed upon rules in our bylaws from last meeting are to allow each person 5 minutes to speak in public comment. Our public comment time will be capped at 1 hour total. You may only speak for public comment at the podium after being recognized by the chair. We will not be petitioning for more time if we go over the 1 hour limit. If you speak out of turn without being recognized by the chair, you will get a warning the first time. The second time, I will ask for you to leave. This stands for delegates too. The business we are attending to is serious and needs to be attended to with the proper amount of decorum. So far, looks really good in this room. One big question has been, who is a legal delegate? As we endeavor to begin creating a new commission that accurately represents each post as they wish to be represented, the few posts whose intended delegate was unclear were asked to clarify. In this way, each post who wants to participate in the Will County Veterans Assistance Commission is participating today with their preferred or selected delegate. That said, only the primary delegate will be participating in the meeting. The secondary delegate may sit in the audience and abide by the rules of the public body stated earlier. Each post will get one vote on all matters. If the primary delegate is absent tonight, their secondary will be the participant and be able to vote. I want to begin this meeting by asking if we have any guests from the media.
We're meeting.
Hello. Your name, sir?
John Kraft, Edgar County Watchdogs.
Thank you so much. Anybody else?
Kirk Allen.
Kirk Allen from the same organization, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent, thank you. All right, I want to begin with public comment on all matters relevant to the Will County Veterans Assistance Commission. I'm going to have you go ahead and line up on the north wall over here if you wish to speak. I want to remind everyone that you'll have 5 minutes to speak in public comment, and our public comment time overall will be capped at 1 hour. You may speak for public comment only at the podium after being recognized. You guys can go ahead and start lining up now, and it's okay if you line up later after a few people have gone.
That's still for me to stand on. If anyone's from falling. Good evening, I'm John Kraft.
Hello, thank you.
This is directed at,
Is that microphone on? I don't see it red. Excellent, thank you. Go ahead.
this comment is directed at Denise Williams. Denise, the organization you purport to represent cannot appoint somebody to this board. There are specific requirements. One being, you have to have 15 paid members, which you have stated that you have 15 paid members. Another being, you have to have 25% of your membership living in Will County. You've never shared the number of your members or the percentage that live in Will County. Another requirement is to be congressionally chartered. Your organization is congressionally chartered. There's also another requirement that's been here for decades, and it gets repealed on January 1, 2023. It gets repealed, which means it's still in effect, and it has been for decades. And I'll read it to you. Military veterans organizations, as used in this act, shall mean those organizations formed by and for military veterans. The organization you represent was not formed by veterans. It might have been formed for military veterans. I don't even believe that's true. I believe it's formed for, mothers of veterans. But your organization was not formed by military veterans. It gets repealed on January 1. So if it gets repealed on January 1, it's not valid today. It hasn't been valid for decades. And you know that. That's why you sit there smiling at me. You think you just sit there and wait it out and cast a vote. It's ironic you're calling a roll call of legitimate delegates and alternates. These people have been appointed by legitimate veteran service organizations that have the authority to appoint people to this commission. The organization you represent does not. And I ask you once again to step down, walk out the door, and come back in January when you can legitimately be appointed.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, this is Raj Pillai, alternate delegate to the Springfield American Legion. So first of all, what I want to say is I have no animosity towards any one of you personally. I really don't. I have really nothing against your organizations that you represent, including the Gold Star and others, which is a wonderful organization. What I do have is that I have something against the behavior that I've seen from this board. And it tends to continue. You guys, as John mentioned, continue to sit up there and vote, regardless of the fact that you're not eligible to be on that board. The Military Veterans Assistance Act is a sacred act for veterans. It governs Veterans Assistance Commissions across the state. You have to be appointed by a commander of a veteran service organization in order to sit here. Most of you do not have an appointment from a commander that we can track. And that's why I sued you. I sued you. A judge has actually looked at it because I filed an injunction. And the judge didn't grant that injunction, one of the reasons being that he wanted to enjoin the county and the commission to that lawsuit. And the judge also thought that the day-to-day business of the VAC wouldn't be run if that injunction was filed. The fact of the matter is, the day-to-day business of the VAC is run by the wonderful staff that is at the VAC. It's not run by the board here, and that's very clear. We have a couple things on the agenda that I see. We have, I think, about 6 meeting minutes that are supposed to be approved today. I don't understand how the commission is supposed to vote on 6 meetings worth of minutes when we haven't even seen these minutes before. I think it was emailed right before, it was emailed today. And it's things like this that cause me a lot of anxiety, because last time what happened was you guys walked out of the board. Amanda, you walked out first. And I think I had a motion on the floor. Somebody said I should come out here and, probably look for my motion that I left on the floor over here. Could I ask for additional time?
That's not your timer, you're okay, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So, my point being is that motion that I made, I think it was, you guys were going to vote on superintendent without giving out any resumes to the commission. That motion was left on the floor, and it was illegally adjourned last time, and then we're deciding to have another meeting. We have all these rules. I can appreciate that, but we have a huge problem here. We had monies expended, at least $500,000 or close to $500,000, that left the door without this board knowing, or you guys didn't even vote on it, let alone not even know about it. So that money's gone. There's many different violations of not only Robert's rules, but the law. You guys are sitting on that board, not legally being allowed to sit on that board. So that's really, I keep repeating myself over and over. I asked you guys to cooperate. It took me 3 months. My other delegate, Bill Sutton, commander, is here. He can tell you who the delegate is. There's been a question as to who's the delegate. And Tom Milnick is sitting out here as the delegate. Meanwhile, he's not the delegate. And he can confirm who the delegate is. I'm the alternate and Will's the primary. But again, I'm just asking you guys, please consider resigning, because if you don't, this is going to get a lot worse. You guys are already going to court at the end of November. It's not going to end up being pretty. So let's consider, aside from me, forget about me and why I'm here. This is about the veterans that are being wronged every single day that we sit up on this board illegally without us being able to serve them. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Thank you. My name is Kirk Allen. I would like to echo the request for you folks to resign. I would emphasize when there's votes being placed tonight that if there's nominations for these people, please remove that. This has to stop. I listened to a radio show today by the now sitting interim board president or chairman, whatever title that is, and I was shocked with what she said. First off, thank you to the staff, because that woman went on the radio and said, the Veterans Commission is not getting their work done. You know what? You know who does the work? Those people. The work is getting done, in spite of what's happening up here. You were wrong. You also referred to our organization as, what was the term? Political extremists. Ma'am, we're a 501c3 and a 501c4. We don't get involved in politics at all. We're about local government accountability. That's what we're about. And that's what was brought to our attention, was the lack of accountability of this board. That's why we got involved. And I have yet to have one person disprove anything we've published about you folks. And you're sitting in positions you're not supposed to. Not one of you. Not one. I brought to your attention months ago your involvement on the county board and how the county code statute outlines what you can and can't be appointed to. Are you still on the county board? Not going to answer that? We heard rumor that you resigned from that. Is that true? No comment. No comment leaves the public with the... All they can do is make an assumption. And that's not how business gets solved. You have to have a discussion. You have to have conversations. You have to have dialogue in order to solve problems. You've refused to do that, as have others. And I don't need 5 minutes, and I appreciate that you've extended the people's right to speak more. And I really appreciate we now have microphones. Because on the air you said we nitpick. But you know, violations of the Open Meetings Act is a Class C misdemeanor. That's a crime. And if that's nitpicking, I will nitpick every day of the week to hold people like you accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person? Anybody else from the public wishing to speak this evening? We'll remind you again, it's not a question and answer session.
Good morning, everybody. Or evening. Nice to see some familiar faces. My name is Christy McNichol. I'm a member of the Lockport American Legion. I wanted to bring attention that, a few of you may have received an email on or around September 20th that was originated by VFW Service Officer DeGroot. Most veterans hold a higher standard of truth than what one of your own sent out across the state. The personnel on that email should hold a higher integrity than that. Integrity is woven throughout each branch of service, but clearly missed the mark on those circulating rumors and allegations surrounding some of the most active and recognized VFW members south of Chicago. In order to build the Cook County VAC back up, it had to be torn down first. Which is Mr. DeGroot claiming the VFW had a role in, the tear down or the building up? I would have assumed the latter because he is a decorated Vietnam veteran that continued to serve post-Vietnam. But his cloak and dagger of providing Jen Solon's personal email for the VAC Will County business calls into question his and her level of integrity to serve those in this room. There is a mythical creature in the veteran world called the Blue Falcon. For the civilians, the Blue Falcon is a term for buddy trucker, but you replace the TR with an F. Falcons eat their own when they're under stress. They will devour the rest of the population while on the prowl to the top. Blue Falcons operate under a cloak of lies, deceit, misdirection, and misinformation to keep the rest of the population guessing how it will survive in their world. The VAC of Will County is being eaten alive by a Blue Falcon and their followers. And now into the politics. Raj Bly is running for Will County Treasurer and is using the VAC as his singular campaign issue. Check out his social media page. And just for fun, check out his campaign funding supporters. Will Sutton previously identified himself as a Kendall County Veteran Service Officer, though no longer employed there, and is now a DeKalb VAC. Also, he stated his representation of the Illinois Association of County Veteran Service Officers, Judge Advocate, and Plainfield American Legion delegate to the VAC board meetings. Gretchen Fritz is a current Will County Board member for District 5 and is seeking the seat of Will County Clerk. Lisa Caparelli Ruff is a current candidate for the Will County Regional Office of Education. At the VAC board meeting on July 12, 2022, above politically incited individuals spoke during the public comment period. These 4 individuals are not motivated to serve veterans, and they are motivated to win an election by clawing up the backs of Will County Veterans Assistance Commission board members and led by the Blue Falcon. They fell in line. Navy veteran Raj Pillai made the statement, Chris Hammond represents a collective of post-13 members. This is an interesting statement because a packet was sent out across the state that contained pieces of the public comments stated by Raj, Will, Gretchen, Lisa, and their other companions that joined them on their staged debauchery at the July 12th meeting. The packet mailed on March 25th contained details from the previous VAC board meeting held on March 8th. Though the March 8th minutes were not available yet to the public until the next VAC board meeting on April 12th. Reviewing the minutes from March 8th, neither Will County Treasurer candidate Raj was there, IAC VAC Representative Will, County Clerk candidate Gretchen, or Regional Office of Education candidate Lisa were in attendance. They all fell in line behind their Blue Falcon leader. Again, Raj would like you to believe that Mr. Chris Hammond is a figurative citizen representing American Legion Post 13. The question posed is who was at the meeting from Post 13 on March 8th? Who had the knowledge, skills, and ability to mail a packet out that so many received? Who is the Blue Falcon amongst you? Up until this point, Will County veterans and the VAC as a whole was elevated statewide by being inclusive and collaborative. The VAC staff participated in community collaborative meetings. The staff was known for being helpful and not for calling the police on a veteran in a mental health crisis. We spoke to veterans as a veteran. The Blue Falcon is tearing it down to prop themselves up on top and look down at everyone like an imbecile. It's important when identifying the Blue Falcon that you understand their psyche. They are incapable of accountability. Nothing is ever their fault. They will point their talents to every other direction to distract you from actually finding the solution that is sought. Simultaneously, they will tell you that they are doing the work of other people and that those other people are incompetent, so steadfast in their statement that you will question your own intelligence. If you speak to their mistakes, missteps, or confront them in any way, they will question your intentions, use a scare tactic, or divert your attention elsewhere to make you stop. They will have a noticeable physical reaction when questioned. Their neck and chest may turn red and splotchy as their heart rate increases. Their eye might start twitching, their jaw may drop, or they might just sit there with their head hung and their hands folded on the table, and you need to pay attention to this. They will, above all, play victim when you hurt their feelings and put on an air of being a protector of you. In reality, they are more like pigeons than falcons. Falcons fly high and see the landscape for what it is, while pigeons are on the ground walking clumsily in the crap that they produce. The Will County VAC was the best in the state. If you are unsure of that, realize that the people following the Blue Falcon are doing so not because of their leadership qualities, but because of what the Will County VAC is capable of, and they are not. It's lonely at the top, but it's better to be alone on the top than to behave like a pigeon walking in their own crap. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak?
Thank you.
My name is Mike Dean, VFW 5788. I know Jack. Jack's a great guy, president up there. But what I just heard from this lady, why I got involved over here at the VAC, they've done very good work, the VAC. There's no question about it. When I asked for some help, I was given it. But when I found out about $500,000 that we couldn't see anymore, or where it went, and now we have a lawyer looking at it to see where this money went. I still don't know what happened to this money. That's why I came out here. I know the board shouldn't be sitting up here, as some members say. I really don't know. I would like to see, if they're not representing us, to leave. If they're rightfully supposed to be up there, that's fine with me. But what happened to this $500,000? Did we go off track? I'm waiting for the lawyer to talk up there what he finding is. That's why I came out here. What happened to the money? And is this board legit? Because they never voted for it, I found out. They never voted to see where this money was supposed to go to, from my understanding. So she can say it's a person of Vulcan or, trying to step behind somebody or whatever they want to do, but I'm an eagle. I fly high and I always will. I just want to know what's happening to the money because I know what's going on in this country right now, and that money's been flying around with this COVID funding, and we don't know what's going on with it. Not only to the VAC, which is an outstanding program, but actually what happened to it. And I can't wait for the lawyer to say where it's at, or what his findings are. That's all I wanted to say, and thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I'm Larry Shaver. I'm a member of Post 5917 of the Veterans of Foreign Wars in Bolingbrook. I'm also the Senior Vice Commander for the District 18 of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. But I'm not going to speak as a representative of either one tonight. What I'm going to speak to you as a representative of is American Veterans Helping Veterans, non-for-profit, who has worked closely over the past more than a decade with Christy. Her and I worked together to help veterans on numerous occasions. I don't know much about the legal aspect of what's going on with Christy. I'm a person that will hold my judgment in reserve and let the law take its course. I do know personally that Christy McNichol is a has been, and probably most likely still is, a very honorable advocate for veterans. She has did a lot of good over the years that I've worked with her. And I'll leave that at that. I will say I have read the state statutes from front to back, inside and out, concerning the Veterans Assistance Commission. And I do believe that there are board members setting up here illegally that have violated state statute by sitting here. I think we all know that because we read on a daily basis. I think we're all qualified. We've known all about this stuff since back in June, July. I know that people that sit here that have an interest in Veterans Affairs have gotten onto the websites and pulled up the information from state statutes and read it. If you haven't, then you're doing a disservice to the people here and yourself and the veterans walking the streets. And again, I have no animosity toward anybody. I'm a veterans advocate, I'm a veterans veteran, and that's all I pretend to be. But if we're going to have an organization that's going to run on behalf of veterans and veterans' needs, so be it. Let's do it the right way. And let's continue to do what we do. And again, I will echo, I thank the staff of the VAC, they do a great job. They're the people that make the wheels turn. I've talked to them, we've never met in face, I don't believe face to face, but I've talked to each and every one of them over the past years that have worked at the VAC. as I do other VACs in the community. 14 states, 14 counties of Northern Illinois is what we represent. I'll close in saying I would love to see this matter concluded and the VAC be able to get back to sitting down and doing the job that it set out to do. With that, I will thank you and close.
Next speaker.
Thank you. My name is James Castaneda, commander of the Plainview American Legion, 10-year Marine Corps veteran, medically retired, 5 combat tours, 2 Purple Hearts, lost a lot of brothers in combat, whatnot, you have you. I've been back here, back in Illinois, going on 5 years now, and joined my post about 4 years ago. And recently became the commander about 2 years, I'm going on 2 years now as a commander. And when I took over my my post, there was some misappropriated funds going on at our post there, where later on I heard that it happens quite a bit around across the board, I guess. But I wasn't having that as a member there. I couldn't believe that that was happening. And when I got out of the Marine Corps, and I was a police officer as well, but I ended up coming home. Wasn't for me, so I moved back to Illinois. But finding out that as a veteran, as a combat veteran at that, and losing brothers, and knowing that my purpose now, I guess, is to help veterans, make sure that they get the benefits they deserve, have people like the VAC who are willing to help them, because there's veterans still out there that don't know where they can go to apply for veterans and receive whatever they deserve. And I believe every veteran deserves something, if not a lot. So I'm not going to sit up here and bash the board. That's been said and done. The money part, I'll let the legal process happen, and whatever happens at the end, we'll deal with then. But when I became a commander, 2021, July timeframe, I got a letter to assign delegates and alternates for the VAC in Will County. I happens that at that time, since I was a new commander, I was still learning how to be a commander. I'm the youngest commander at my post since forever. That post in Plainfield's been around since 1919, so youngest commander, right? We need a lot of young veterans to come out to different posts, and we got to go out there and recruit and get them in. But so anywho, so I put in my list as delegates and alternate. One was me, and the other was Raj Pillai, Navy veteran himself. At that point, Raj was a finance officer. He's the one that helped out, make some guidelines, so what happened at our post report doesn't happen again. So I have a lot of trust in my finance officer from my post to be a delegate here at the VAC. Turns out that the commander position takes up a lot of time, so I wasn't able to attend some of the meetings. So I took myself off and added Will Sutton, who is my service officer at my post. And it just happens that he was also a veteran service officer at the time with Kendall County VAC, where I'm a part of that board over there. And seeing, this is only my second meeting here, seeing how this board runs compared to the Kendall County board, way different, totally different. So, anywho, I take insult when my members, my service officer, my finance officer at my post get dragged for no purpose at all. Like, what is their job? Hey, he was a veteran service officer at another VAC, and now he's working for another VAC. Well, there's really no problem. He's still working as a veteran service officer, and it has no. I don't see what the point was dragging his name that he doesn't live in Will County, when I have a post that I got veterans that live in a lot of counties. Just as happens they like my post better, so they joined the Plainfield American Legion. I have 25% of my members who live in Kendall County, hence I go to the Kendall County VAC. Will's son does not live in Will County, correct. But he is my service officer, and he's a member at my post, so yes. For that to be brought up, I don't get that, and I don't get what his termination. He got terminated, if we want to be blunt about it, he got terminated because he came up here and spoke his mind about him helping veterans and what's going on here. I'm not going to talk about that, but he's standing up for what he believes in. What I believe, I backed him up 100%. You know, since I took over my post, and I tell you, we dealt with, you know, whatever happened before I was the commander there, and when this thing came to light, I was like, oh, another situation like this. Hey, Raj and William, you guys got it. You guys are very knowledgeable. Go have at it. Nothing to do before Raj said, hey, I'm also running for whatever he's running for. Yeah, I can care less. I'm not a political guy. I don't get in political businesses or whatnot. You know, I'm lucky if I get around to vote on November 8th. But not here nor there. The fact that you know, I got my finance officer who was very, if I can get, I'm almost done. More time.
Like 30 seconds?
30 seconds. All right. The fact that my finance officer, you know, brings this to light again to help out other veterans, and then he gets smeared because he's running for something that he wants to do and fix whatever he can. I mean, I get it. I can see how it looks from the outside in and vice versa. That he's running for Will County Treasurer, but that wasn't the case when this came to light and when he started. It just bothers me as his commander and as my finance officer, my service officer, that my members at my post get dragged like this for no reason. And again, we're all here for the same cause. We're all veterans. We're all here to help out veterans. I love the VSOs that help out our veterans that need help out there. And I mean, this is just foolish. You know what's going on here. I see I hate seeing what I see here as fellow members. Maybe some of us, you know, I think she left, but Blue Falcon. It's been a while since I heard that term. And I'm an infantry guy, so we had a lot of Blue Falcons that I won't even talk about that. But hey, thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name's John Dave, and I'm past state commander for the Veterans of Foreign Wars. I've served on the National Council for the VFW for 4 years, and I've served on the Appeals Committee for 4 years. I served on this board many years ago, under Wayne. We're here for veterans. I took an oath when I came back. To my last dying breath, I will help veterans. And everybody in this room here should be here for veterans and not themselves. If you are, you're in the wrong place. We're veterans that need to help veterans, because America's not going to help us. Look what's going on in the United States today. All this needs to stop. We need to put our veterans first. And that's what we're here for. If you're here for something else, you might as well get up and walk out the door. I served 23 years in my country, and I've seen how veterans are treated. And it's still going on today, and it needs to stop. And we need to make sure that this VAC commission puts veterans first and veterans first only. Thank you.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Any other public comments? Last call for public comment. Great, thank you. Oh, Secretary Williams said somebody just walked in. Who was it?
Hi, sir. I noticed that you came in. Are you here to represent a post or?
Yeah, VFW, Stone City VFW.
Great, thank you.
And your name, sir?
Kevin Kamakawa.
I'm sorry?
Kevin Kamakawa. KLNY.
Thank you for joining us. All right, so the next thing on our agenda is minutes of previous meetings. So I noticed as well that the meeting minutes were not distributed until today. I'm correct that they're all on the table, right?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So If you would like to look at those, go ahead and look at them. I'm suggesting that we table all these minutes until the biennial election meeting on Friday, okay? So I will ask for a motion to table the minutes from 14 June.
I'll make that motion, Madam President.
Is there a second? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and take a roll call vote this first time.
Denise Williams, aye. Amanda Cook,
Yes.
Jim Singler,
Yes.
Janet Blue,
Yes.
Steve Beneke,
Yes.
Rick Martinka,
Yes.
Wayne Horn,
Yes.
Gary Steig,
Yes.
Robert Angone.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, am I pronouncing your name properly, sir? Angone, I apologize. Robert Kruger. Robert Kruger,
He stepped up.
He stepped out.
okay.
I made him mad.
Tom Jost,
Yes.
Raj Pillai,
Yes.
John Batten,
Yes.
Jennifer Gill,
Yes.
Kevin Moncala.
Here.
And I'm not pronouncing that correctly, can you say it again?
That was right.
Moncala?
Yep.
Okay. Jim Boston,
Yes.
Joseph Kelly.
Yes.
Passed unanimous to table the minutes from June 6, 14, 2022.
Excellent, thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to table.
Our council has advised us that we can make a motion for B, C, D, E, F, and G under section 7, table them all together. Would you like to make that motion?
I'd like to amend that motion.
Okay.
I'd like to make the motion B, C, D, E, and F all be tabled.
Can I get a second? Second. Does anybody want to vote to use the previous roll call?
So moved.
Okay. Does anybody want to second that motion?
Second.
Thank you so much.
Who said second?
Raj. Okay. And so that leaves G, and that is the minutes from the closed session on 30 March 22.
I'd like to make a motion to keep the closed session minutes from March 22 closed. Under,
I'm sorry, can you repeat that motion?
Go ahead, Raj.
I would like to make a motion the motion is to have the closed session minutes from 30 March 2022 remain closed, and that would be under ILCS 5 ILCS 5/120/2, Section C 11, and or 5 ILCS 5/120/2, Section C 1.
Excuse me, point of order, that's not on the agenda. And I'd like to discuss it anyways. That's not on the agenda.
I'm confused.
It is on the agenda.
Oh,
I think.
I'm going to let our council clarify this.
Yes.
I think, I'm sorry. I think what we have to do here is we're doing two different things, right? So I believe what's before the body is to approve the meeting minutes. That means the members that were present during the closed session have reviewed them, and they believe the content accurately reflects what happened in that meeting that day. So if you weren't present, obviously you can't really opine on whether the minutes are correct or not. We have to approve the meeting minutes first, and that's the first step. Later on, after they're approved, we come back and we determine, biannually, by state law, we have to determine whether the need for confidentiality still exists or whether those meeting minutes should be released. So I believe what we're doing here today, if I'm correct, is that we're just approving the content to say that everybody that was present during that meeting agrees that they accurately reflect that meeting. So I believe that's what, am I correct? If they haven't been approved, that they have to be approved first, then biannually, we would get together and decide whether the need for confidentiality still exists. And that is determining the release. So today, I believe what's before us is, again, just to be clear, the people that were present during the closed session that reviewed the meeting minutes are saying those accurately reflect and they don't need any changes. Yes, John?
That was correct me if I'm wrong, that was an executive board meeting. This is not an executive board meeting, this is a full commission meeting. So the votes have to go through the full commission, not just the executive board. You can always table that to the next executive board meeting. That's my personal opinion.
But people can't vote on meeting minutes that they weren't present on, right? I mean, how would you know if the content's correct or not? You'd have to abstain, but if they want to vote, I mean, that's fine.
If it was a closed meeting, we'd have to listen to the recording, because you do have new members that end up voting on stuff when the old members are gone.
I know, but Kurt, to my point is that, how can I vote on something if I wasn't there and I don't know if they're accurate or not? If I wasn't in the room, how do I know it's I don't have no frame of reference to vote yes or no. I can only abstain because I wasn't there.
The only way would be to listen to the recording.
Well, I guess that's one way to do it, but I mean, technically what I've seen before is you just abstain because you weren't present, even if you were going to go back and listen to the recording. It's form over substance. The point is, are the minutes correct? Right, that's what we're doing here. So if you want to table them to the next meeting, that's fine. Otherwise, I think we can go ahead and approve them if you want. For the content. Content only.
I have a question on that. In a closed meeting, are topics announced?
Yes.
Yes.
So those were announced in
Closed session.
someplace in closed session?
Well, they're on the agenda for the exec. You can do any business you want in open meetings, under the Open Meetings Act. There are exceptions to the Open Meeting Act, and those are things you can go into executive session about. So what you have to give the public notice of, in general, whether it's litigation, collective bargaining agreement, things like that, what you're going to go in
I
and
would agree with
discuss.
that. Was that done?
Yes. Previously, back in March.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a fair question. I want everybody to understand what we're doing, so that's what I'm trying to help.
All right.
Did that help?
It did. Thank you very much, Mr. O'Grady. I don't see us having an executive session or executive committee meeting again before the elections on Friday. So in that instance, can I get a motion to approve these minutes?
I will move to approve.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry. Can people please use their microphones? I can't hear.
So to correct the record, the motion is on the floor, so are you seconding the motion, Wayne?
The motion to approve is on the floor.
Yes. That was the motion that I made.
I'll second.
Okay, excellent. So now we're going to have to do a roll call. And we can just do this with the folks from the executive committee.
As long as they're all here, you might as well say on vote. I don't know if they have any type of reference for it. I mean, again, I think that's a point. What's that? They have president, they can abstain. I guess they can vote any way they want. I think the proper vote would be to abstain if they want to vote.
Okay.
Could I
Does anybody
please,
need more clarification on that? Go ahead.
I do, can I please amend the motion to table these? Because I haven't had a chance to look at these, and I think that what we said previously, that we should table it until we get a chance to look at these. I think we should follow through on that.
So, clerk,
I think what I'm hearing is, it was a motion, you're making a superseding motion to the motion to approve. We had a first and a second. Now we have a new superseding motion to table item
G.
Is there a second?
I'm point of order. Can someone who is not a member of the executive committee, who was not in the closed session,
we
Yeah, do
we
you
have
have
to
a
finish
second?
his motion.
Second.
You seconded? Thank you so much.
Now, does anybody want to have a discussion on that motion to
Yeah,
table?
I do. So, just to be clear on this, you're looking to table the minutes under section 7G. You don't want to approve them, you want to table them so you've got a chance to read them and approve them.
Correct, I mean, I'd like to.
However,
But if you weren't in the room, as Mr. O'Grady said, then you won't be able to vote on it because you weren't there. That's what I don't understand.
That's not necessarily true. The Attorney General, these are not commission meetings. There is no such thing as a closed session for committee. If I request to be able to come listen to those minutes, I should be able to come listen to them or actually look at the minutes in a private session. And this is something I've asked the Attorney General, they haven't got back to me, but I should be able to do that. Because this is a committee of the commission, this is not the commission.
Question to the chair.
Go ahead.
We acted on that on advice of counsel. So you might want to contact the state's attorney counsel for further information on that. We only act in the legal sense that we're required to.
Here's my issue, guys. There's a lot of controversy surrounding everything that's been in closed session right now, and I just think that we, as a commission, need to understand at least what happened in those minutes.
Yeah, it was fine.
Go ahead. Thank you, Jeff.
Was that not good enough answer?
It's, unfortunately, Wayne, it's not. I'm
Well,
telling you the
We
reason
don't know
why.
how else to answer it.
All right,
I
so
don't
let's
know.
do this.
Topic. We do the question
I want
before us
to vote on the motion to table, which I think is a more than fair motion. It will allow us an opportunity to talk with legal counsel and find out how to proceed with this set of minutes.
I would appreciate that, thank you.
All right, so let's go ahead and do a roll call vote, because this might be contentious for this item, 7G. Motion to table, thank you.
Denise Williams, no. Amanda Cook,
No.
Jim Singer. No. Janet Blue,
Yes.
Steve Menike,
Yes.
Rick Martinka,
Yes.
Wayne Horn,
Are these minutes already on the website?
No.
no, these are the closed minutes that have not been released because it is a closed
So
session.
all of these other minutes though are?
No.
No,
No, they're on the table though.
no, we're only discussing 7G, closed minutes from 30 March, and the motion is whether or not to table. Is that a yea or a nay, Wayne?
No.
Gary Sneed,
No.
Robert Angoni,
Yes.
Robert Kruger,
Yes.
Tom Jost,
Yes.
Raj Pillai,
Yes.
John Gavin,
Yes.
Jennifer Peel,
Yes.
Kevin O'Brien,
Yes.
Jim Clausen,
Yes.
Joseph Kelly,
Yes.
motion passes 12 yes and 5 nay.
All right, excellent. So that is tabled until our next meeting. Agenda item 8, old business. There is no old business for this meeting. I'm going to move on to item 9, new business. So we're going to do our nominations today in the spirit of creating a good commission. For each nomination, the motion will be made, then seconded by another. There will be no vote today, but the nominated individual will be asked if they accept his or her nomination, and therefore must be present today. The elections will occur on Friday, October 14th, in this room, beginning at 3 p.m. Let's go ahead and begin with nominations for president. Please raise your hand nice and high so that we can see you.
walked out undiscussed.
What motion?
At the end of the meeting, we were discussing about superintendent. He just walked out.
No, it's not on today's agenda item.
But it's your own business because you never finished the meeting.
It's not on this agenda because this commission has been called into question that it's not formed legally. So hiring somebody, firing somebody, paying somebody, any of those things are going to be called into question in court. So this agenda, I'm assuming, is meant to be a pared down version.
We would have went through with the motion, we've been fine, but now we walked out on the motion, and it's all good.
I'm sorry that you do not like how that went.
Okay.
Okay.
Just perfect.
All right, so our new business is nominations of officers. Would anybody like to nominate somebody to be president of this commission? Steve,
I'd like to nominate Amanda Cook as president.
can I get a second?
Second.
All right, I will accept that nomination. Any other nominations for president?
I'd like to nominate General Kelly as president.
I'll second it.
A second?
And who's the second?
Robert.
Robert
And
and okay.
Do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Any other nominations for president? Okay. Nominations for vice president. Janet,
I'd like to nominate Stephen Key for vice president.
excellent. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second. Do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Excellent. Are there any other nominations for vice president?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Davin as vice president.
I'll second that.
Excellent, thank you.
And who's the second? I'm sorry.
We're bad with names today.
We're bad at things, and we can't have both members of the same post making motions and all that, so is there another second?
I'll second it.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Thank you.
Gonna have to show it.
Any other nominations for vice president? Excellent. All right, secretary, any nominations for secretary? I will remind everybody that if this is not filled, it can be appointed by the president at a later date. However, it would be nice to have somebody voted into this position. Janet?
I nominate Denise Williams for secretary.
I'm sorry, I am not eligible to receive a nomination. I am in this position now because I was appointed by our current president.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that, Denise. So I'll ask one last time if we have any nominations for secretary. All right, seeing none?
I'm sorry, can I nominate Robert?
I can't type.
Oh.
I appreciate you saying that. It would be nice to go through the motion in second, but fair enough. All right, so we're going to leave secretary for now. We'll allow that to be filled by the next president. Sergeant at Arms. Do I have any nominations for Sergeant at Arms?
Nominate Janet Blue.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All right, Denise, second that? Do you accept that nomination? Excellent. Any other nominations for Sergeant at Arms?
Can I nominate Larry Shaver, please, as Sergeant at Arms?
Now, if we have two people from the same post and they both win, only one of them will be able to take a position. I'm not saying no, because I don't think that's articulated in our bylaws.
By the time the vote comes, I should be a candidate or a full-fledged delegate from another organization.
And how does that work when the date's supposed to be March 3rd?
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest. I would probably be the delegate from American Legion Post 1288, Bolingbrook.
I mean, it's perspective, right? I mean, I mean, we're nominating now, right? I don't want to be difficult, but I mean, if you're not in the spot, you're not in the spot, right?
Yeah, I agree with you, unfortunately.
You got somebody else?
Good news is the elections are biennial, so keep showing up. Anybody else for Sergeant at Arms? All right, seeing none, we're gonna move on to Chaplain. Can I get a nomination for Chaplain?
Chairman Sengler?
Thank you. Can I get a second?
A second.
Okay,
And
do you accept the
sorry.
nomination?
No.
No? Okay, so we're gonna need to try again.
And I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. Is that, Mr. Krueger, is that you?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, thank you.
And the second was Jim Clausen. I'd like to nominate Jim Clausen as chaplain.
Can I get a second?
One second.
Oh, yeah.
Steve seconds. Do you accept that nomination?
Okay, I'll accept.
Awesome, thank you. And Steve, second. Oh, yeah, so, our executive assistant is asking if we can say second and then state your name. Just your last name is fine. Thank you. Thanks.
Who's the candidate?
Jim Clausen nominated, I nominated him for chaplain, and Steve, and he seconded. And you have accepted.
And he has accepted.
I accept.
A little reluctant, but we'll take it. All right. So, any other nominations for chaplain? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go to the member-at-large 2-year position. Are there any nominations for the member-at-large 2-year position? Excellent, thank you. These can be appointed by the president at a later date if we don't have anybody wanting to nominate for these positions. I would like a good election.
I'd like to nominate Jennifer Peel for the member-at-large 2-year position.
Can I get a
So that is
second?
when you show up.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Second from Wayne, do you accept?
Yes.
How can
Excellent.
she do that? She's not even eligible to be appointed to the commission, let alone make nominations.
Okay, that's enough, thank you.
Read the law. Man. Read your name tag. Never freaking learn.
All right, any other nominations for member-at-large 2-year position? All right, seeing none, member-at-large 3-year position will be pending if Janet Blue becomes the sergeant at arms. So I am interested in taking a name for nominations regardless for this position. That's an excellent question.
That's right.
Yeah.
Usually it's just
If she steps down, it would become fully unfulfilled term. And then you'd have to run again.
Okay. So does anybody want to nominate somebody to fill the 1-year position, the 1 year that would be left on Janet Blue's term, pending her being elected to sergeant at arms? I'll ask one last time if anybody wants to nominate somebody for the 1 year remaining, possible 1 year remaining on a 3-year term. Okay? Member at large 4-year position is open. This is a 4-year term. Anybody want to nominate somebody to serve as a member at large for 4 years on this commission?
I have a question.
Yes.
If we have someone whose term is finishing now, like Mr. Hickey, and he does not get elected to vice president,
It will be up to the current president to place people in this position if nobody's elected.
okay, thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. All right, I'm going to ask one last time to see if anybody wants to nominate somebody for the 4-year position.
I nominate John Castaneda.
I don't think you can do that.
No, I'm sorry that you cannot, as a member of the public, you cannot make a nomination, only a delegate or a board member can. But I really do like the suggestion, Costa. I know what your name is. to nominate Costa as the 4-year member at large.
And that's fine.
James, does somebody second James' nomination?
Okay, we have a second right here. Do you accept the nomination?
Sorry, we had a question.
State your name.
Jim Clausen.
Clausen. Thank you.
We had a question, Madam President. So is it only delegates who can nominate or accept? Is it just a member of the commission who can accept?
I think it's just a member of the commission, is how I read the bylaws.
Thank you.
A member of the commission means a member of the executive board or a delegate present.
No, I mean,
Can make a
commission.
nomination and second a
You
nomination.
have to be a delegate or alternate. You're not allowed to be there.
Thank you.
All right. Do you accept?
Yes,
Excellent. So I'll ask one last time if there's anybody who wants to be nominated.
One more question.
Go ahead.
Thought you had to be a delegate. I mean, isn't that what all the complaining's been about, is delegates or the ones that are?
Well, there is no one else that has been nominated from American Legion Plainfield 13 for an officer position. And the question is, the forms that I have state that James Castaneda is the delegate and Raj Pillai is the alternate. And I had sent an email for clarification to the Post asking if that were still.
we got the email last week, and we're telling you get three.
I'm sorry, I can't hear
I
you.
said, we got the email last week, it was sent to our big main email, so yes, we did send you guys sent us 2 emails in the past, and we updated those.
Are you currently the delegate or not?
Am I?
Yes.
Whatever form you guys got, I'll go with it.
So as the commander of your post, the spirit of this meeting is I want all commanders to send or state who they want their primary and alternate delegates to be. Do you want yourself to be the delegate or Will Sutton?
So, James, the original form that was received, you were the delegate, Raj Pillai was the alternate.
Right.
There
I
was
already
another,
sent that form, yeah.
right, and then there was another form that was sent that had William Sutton as the delegate and Raj Pillai as the alternate.
Correct.
So the question is, which form do you, as the commander of the American Legion, Plainfield 13, want to be the valid form? That's your decision, and I asked if you would accept the nomination for the 4-year term on the assumption that you were the delegate and Mr. Pillai is the alternate. If you do not want that to be the valid form, then state so. If you accept the nomination, you are stating that you are the delegate.
And note, my current application, I have Willie Sutton and Ross Pillai.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. All right, so before we close out these nominations, I'll ask one last time for a nomination for our 4-year member at large. All right, moving on. Other new business. Is there any other new business that I have not been alerted to? Yes.
Yeah, so I'm really not trying to be difficult here. It seems that we either have a election meeting this week on the 13th or the 14th. I know the agenda says the 13th.
I'm going to clarify it that at the end, and I really appreciate you bringing it up. There was a typo. It is the 14th. So
Okay.
I'll make sure to say that again.
Yeah, no, that's fine. My point was that having 2 commission meetings in the same week, especially this one is at 3 p.m., I think it's unduly burdensome. I mean, we are trying to get the commission members here twice a week. I would want to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to table the election until next month's meeting. I think it's just not practical to have the entire commission here twice a week, and especially not at 3 p.m.
So our bylaws actually state that these elections have to occur in October. And technically, this should be the election meeting. So as we're behind, we're trying to catch up.
I understand that, but last time you guys walked out of the meeting, and it was supposed to be done last time, so we have at least a month in between the nomination process and the election.
But
And
you can't
even-
really table something that's not on the agenda.
Right. Well, I'd like to make a motion to do that. I'm just saying that this is not easy for us to actually have an election and 2 commission meetings in the same week. And if it's possible to make a motion, I'd like to.
Well, I appreciate your input on that, but it's already said. All right,
I don't,
We've heard you.
thank you.
I understand that, but we were supposed to do this last time, guys.
All right, so
You guys
we're
walked out
gonna
of the
move
meeting.
on
It's scheduled for
to
the
our,
13th, it says right here, not 14th.
That was a scrivener's error we did that, right, Jack?
we did, we just
We
covered
just talked
it.
about the scrivener's.
I mean, can we at least, I understand we're trying to follow the letter of the bylaws here, which the bylaws don't even confirm to the Military Veterans Assistance Act. I mean, can we at least move it to next week?
Okay.
Like question.
We're just gonna move on to our superintendent's report.
Okay, well,
Either we're following the bylaws or we're not.
so we're not
following
going
them,
to
period.
follow reasonable.
That's it.
But
Our
follow state
superintendent's
law.
You're out
report,
of order,
please.
Jack. You're not-
I'm gonna
You're
have
not
our
right. You need to
assistant
yell at me.
superintendent, our interim superintendent, come on down. Would like to have any staff help you? Feel
Good
free.
evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eric Liza, Senior Veteran Service Officer. I'll be going over the award log. Quickly, in comparison to last month's reported 4.2 million in new award we brought in for fiscal year 2022, we are now at 4.65 million. Are there any questions possible regarding the award?
No, excellent work.
Well done.
I think it's just on the agenda.
Okay, so for the emergency shelter grant, we've actually utilized all of the FEMA funds, so we're 50, so we are going to use the FEMA funds, that's $30,000. Financial assistance report, we served 6 veterans. Last month, shelter totaled $350, gas was $62.30, electric was $182, personal products is $150. October is the first month that Lightkeep opens up, so should be a few months without utility costs.
For clarification, can you please advise, or can you please state what Lightkeep covers and how that impacts?
So Lightkeep is for low-income housing, energy. If you within 150% federal poverty limit, will help assist with electric subsidy and also gas. But the gas has to be for heating, it cannot be for cooking.
I will entertain a motion to accept the superintendent's report as presented. Would anybody like to make that motion to accept the superintendent's report?
I will make that motion. Blue.
Motion by Blue, second.
Second, Becky.
Second by Benny Key. Let's go ahead and have a roll call vote.
Before we do, I just wanted to say something to Jen.
Absolutely.
So we did get the award log and the other information, but it would be great to have information on the shelter and the gas and electric, to have numbers of people assigned to that. too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
that just helps.
usually on the agenda, I'll plug it in, but everything out, the agenda first, plug that information in, so I'll make sure it's set.
Any other comments before we get to our roll call vote? All right, go ahead, Secretary Leader.
The motion is to accept the superintendent's report as presented. Williams? No. Cook?
Yes.
Sandberg?
No.
Blue?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Martinka?
Yes.
Dorn? I'm sorry, Horn?
Yes.
Gary Steve?
Yes.
Robert Anthony?
Yes.
Robert Kruger?
Yes.
Don Host.
Yes.
Raj Black.
Yes.
Don Dale.
Yes.
Jennifer Peel.
Yes.
Kevin Montgomery. Jim Lawson.
Yes.
Joseph Kelly. Motion passes 15 yea, 2 nays.
All right, excellent. The next item on our agenda is 12, for the good of the commission. Does anyone have anything to share for the good of the commission?
This under good of the order.
Yep.
To save embarrassment to everybody, because I've been in several organizations going down the roads, I'd like to point out Article 7, Section 6. Newly elected officers must submit a copy of their DD 214 or honorable discharge certificate or such other proof of service or relationship to the eligibility of the veteran, which qualifies the officer for membership in the respective veteran service organizations, to the superintendent within 30 days following the election and to an elected office. If elected, officer fails to submit the required documents within the specified time frame, the office will be declared vacant, and a special election will be held to fulfill the vacant office. The only reason I bring this up is because we put people in positions, we get all the way up there, everything's doing fine, all of a sudden we find out they're not eligible.
Thank you very much.
Can't hear you.
What?
Did somebody say that they had something else to say?
What'd she say to you? We need to hear that.
Okay. You
That's
don't need to
discussion,
hear it, but I
deliberation.
actually am going to say it. And if you interrupt me one more time, I'm going to ask you to leave.
No, you
Thank
should give one warning and then two.
All right, so, one thing that Secretary Williams brought up to me, and as long as we're on that road, thank you very much, you also have to have 25% of your membership in Will County, okay? So we're gonna have to also verify that. Any organization that is here, I know that Plainfield talked about how they have obviously people from different counties, and probably meet that 25%, but each and every organization will have that counted and make sure that that is all correct before we go into these nominations as well. It also looks like you volunteered yourself to help me figure that out. Anyways, all right. Anybody else have anything for the good of the commission? Anybody else? All right. So we have an executive committee closed session. There is no need for an executive session today, so we're going to go ahead and move past that. Before we get to our adjournment, I do want to talk about how there is a typo. You're very confused about whose meeting this is.
And you lied to the public. The law does not say they have to have 25%. Only if they serve more people in more than one county do they have to have 25%.
Yeah, for real. All right, before we adjourn, there is a typo on our agenda today. I'd like to bring this back up one more time. The biennial election meeting will be this Friday, October 14th, in this room at 3 p.m. I hope to see you all then. That said, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second, John.
Move and second. Have a good evening.
Quit lying to people.
If everybody put their name card back on the table when you have them from,
Okay, I'll reiterate that. Can you please put your name tags at least on this front table or something?
Can you quit lying to the public?
Hey, you never win. You can't win for